Hello and welcome to another episode of Alp's Zoo. Today, Anthony Orr, my good
Hey, Al.
friend, is joining us to talk about IT in Asia. He was recently there on a trip, meeting with many of our customers, and in general, hanging out with people that knows about IT and have seen the trend to sweeping by. This is beyond the magazines and the hype. This is from the guys on the street. So, Anthony, straight to the point. Social media, is that as hyped up and is that as popular in the countries you were? And is this something that has become an American thing that we believe is somewhere else? Or is it actually a global phenomenon?
Yeah, Alf, definitely a global phenomenon. I went to Australia, no, Melbourne, Sydney, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, and Hong Kong.
Yes.
Social media is everywhere. Everybody's using social today to either get news, figure out what's going on, and participate in this overall phenomenon that you're talking about. So it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Matter of fact, I think it's going to get even stronger, especially in the Asia Pac area, because of the proliferance of mobile devices. Everybody has a mobile device, a cell phone, and they're very into communicating that way and using that device within their daily lives as well as their work lives.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about. It's easy to say that social media is a global thing, and obviously it is, at least if you look at Facebook accounts. But from an enterprise perspective, do you see, has it integrated? Here in America, we had a little bit of a kickstart. Chatter really helped. Everybody said, we have Chatter, hence we have social media in enterprise. And even if that is the benchmark, is it as prevalent over there as we see here?
Yep, I think it's really more prevalent over there than here. I think it's more part of people's life when you think about trends related to IT consumerization, and you talk about mobile and social. Those things are just a part of the way people do things over there. As I was over there, even in the business settings, you notice how people are working today and using social and mobile. And then even outside of that, for example, some of the customers I went out to dinner with and so forth, and they're staying connected. That's how people stay connected today with the way they consume IT, which is a big part of what social and mobile offers to the industry. I think really in the U.S. we need to catch up. At the end of the day.
Yeah, and that has many times been the case in other trends as well. We tend to believe that we are ahead of the curve, and then Europe was ahead in mobility. That might not be the case anymore, but for a long time they were innovative there, for example. Let me ask you this. Mobility is, as we all know, huge in many of these countries, especially you mentioned both Southeast Asia and in Australia, New Zealand area. How do companies manage that proliferation of devices? Because some of these countries has like 2.3 devices per person, and I'm sure people bringing not only their own device but devices to work.
I think, Alf, at the end of the day, when you talk about managing those devices, well, what they do, they sort of put policies in places, make sure they got the right security software and things like that to prevent hacking and things like that. But it's sort of exploded, and I think it's almost like, if you think about it, in the past, there's so many back doors into organizations today through social and mobile means and so forth, whether you're communicating or looking at email and so forth. Because if you look at any device that has the internet connection, if you have email enabled on the internet, it's available through your device, and you and if you use that as it relates to your email accounts and communicating with your coworkers through various means of technology and so forth. It's just there, and you sort of can't stop it because the industry is supporting it more so than the companies, and the companies just have to embrace at the end of the day that it's a fact of life. And that's a good word, I think. Social and mobile today is just a fact of life, and it's just a part of our lives, and it's going to grow even more.
And how many of us are grasping that? Because it's easy for us to sit here and say that, and I agree with you 100%. But does the average Joe, especially in the IT department, have they accepted that, or are still fighting that? And I'm talking. I know the answer here in the Western world specific, but over there, are they more open to this wave because I've seen it happening faster?
Good question. I think it's based on age. The older people in the workforce, they sort of don't believe in it sometimes, but it's there, and they may use little pieces of it. But the younger people, it's just a part of their lives, and it's going to change the way we do business. And we know we have these three generations of knowledge workers within organizations, and the bottom two, as far as age demographics, are leading the way in the way we do things, and those are the skill sets of tomorrow that we really have to embrace.
Another big trend that's happening here, and I'm quite curious to find out, is big data. Is big data big in Asia?
Yeah, and that's another area. Big data is really big everywhere. I didn't hear a lot of conversations around big data and managing big data as much as I heard about mobile and social and things like that. But it's sort of there in the background because it's more of an IT issue versus a community issue like mobility and social. Yeah. So it's there, but you don't see it as much. But organizations have to understand their end users more and so forth. So you see the discussions going on. How do they manage the complexity of managing data and turning it into information and knowledge for decision support that they have to make within their organization so they can be successful with the services that they deliver and support at the end of the day.
What about cloud? What would you say is the on-premise to on-demand ratio in some of these places you were visiting?
The cloud, as it relates to, for example, Australia, a lot of organizations that are thinking about cloud. So I think that's where they are versus some of the organizations that are early adopters and using cloud technology and so forth. And the same thing in Asia. I think a lot more organizations are thinking about it, but they still feel safer with on-prem solutions. There may be even a trend that happens later, Alf, that organizations that adopt cloud computing in order to mitigate risk, because there's a lot of talk in Asia about risk mitigation and so forth, they may actually decide to move from cloud back to on-prem type solutions so that they can feel safer, in today's economy.
Is the risk-reward scale tilted slightly differently in Asia than, for example, in America?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're more risk-conscious as relates to what they're doing in IT sometimes. And that's why they're sort of maybe a little bit late adopters as it relates to cloud computing technologies. Except one area, for example, and I didn't go there, which is Japan. Japan is starting to really, embrace cloud solutions as it relates to, cutting some of their infrastructure costs and everything else. So,
is that more driven by necessity so they maybe take a little bit more risk? So they're in economic turmoil now, but also seem to be in a sort of shift in their industries. Is Japan just a little bit more open to that, or because no one would ever argue that Japanese businesses are anything but conservative? What is it that drives cloud on that island?
I don't know, but I really want to talk to some of our customers there. And I'm planning another trip back over in August, which I hopefully get a chance to go to Tokyo and talk to some of them and see what some of the real drivers around and what they're really thinking as it relates to cloud and managing risk within their environment.
Well, I can't wait to hear from you. Then maybe we do a show while you're over there and let the viewers hear straight from the street. Thank you, Anthony. But before we go, can you share with us your face without the get up?
What was that again?
Can you take that thing off?
Oh, take that off? You don't like the effect?
I do.
Let's see.
But also
remove all effects.
Oh. See?
Back to normal.
Thank you everybody for watching. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
But when you're in Alpha Zoo, you have to do stuff.